Good morning and welcome to another edition of the Hot Air Sports Podcast with me, Macca, and my good mate Mahona. How are you, Aaron?
Oh, I'm not too bad, mate. Just contemplating the situation in the world and everything that's going on. It's a bit crazy, isn't it, mate? It's all turned upside down. Um, so what better thing to do than to get on a podcast and talk to my best mate about sports, the thing that really matters in the world, right?
Quite right, quite right. No mention of any orange men or anything like that, but
No, no,
yeah, it certainly
no,
is a bit of a shitstorm at the moment. But yes, as we say, let's talk about sport and forget all the ills of the world going on. And
totally.
let's start with football. Um,
Okay.
Firstly, a couple of interesting results this morning in the Champions League. I mean, where our good friends at Liverpool are unfortunately out. Um,
Yeah.
but
Last
that's
time
all
we
right.
spoke, we were still in it, weren't we, mate? Last
We
time we
certainly
spoke,
were.
we had our tails up. We thought, PSG, no problem, and they caused us all sorts of problems. Knocked out in penalties, not so bad, was it? I mean, that was I thought we played appallingly in Paris, but we got the result unbelievably, and but then just couldn't quite get it done at Anfield. And that result this morning, the Arsenal game. Did you watch the Arsenal game? Did you see any
I
of
haven't
that?
watched it, but I've seen the goals and seen the
Oh,
quick highlights. What a
Declan
game!
Rice. Have you ever? I don't think I've ever seen anyone. I've been watching. You and I have been watching football for a good half a century or a little bit more. Um, I don't think I've ever seen anyone score two free kicks like that in one game that are that
Yeah,
good. Those were the best, two of the best free kicks I think I've ever seen. That second one, just unsavable. Postage stamp, mate. Just
yeah,
absolutely crazy. And it looked like Real Madrid had really sort of just lost their mojo, shat the bed a little bit there in that period of time. But if anyone's proved that it can be done, 3-0 down, they didn't even mention it in the commentary, did they? We know it's happened before.
yep,
Liverpool went
certainly
home,
has.
didn't they?
And the other result surprised me too. Bayern Munich getting beaten by Inter Milan.
Did it? Did it surprise you?
Yeah,
I don't know. I don't think so. I think Bayern are flattered to deceive this year. Don't think they've got a great coach. I think Inter Milan, they're a smoky, mate. They're a good side. And good in the midfield. They're good all over. They're definitely the best Italian team at the moment. And mate, when it gets to sort of home and away cup football, the Italians do it better than most, don't they?
yeah, yeah.
2-1 away from home. It'll be interesting when they go back to the San Siro next week.
It certainly was. Some other results this morning, none in the Premier League, but in the
Mm.
Championship. That
Oh,
top
yeah.
three is really interesting to follow
Yeah.
with Burnley, Leeds, and Sheffield United. The three of them
Yeah.
have swapped top place three times in the last three game weeks,
What were the
and
results
Leeds are
this
back
morning?
on top. Leeds are back on top. They beat
Oh,
Middlesbrough
wow.
1-0.
Awesome. Good result.
Burnley had a draw with Derby, and Sheffield United got beaten by
Wow.
who did they get beaten by now? They got beaten at home by Millwall.
Wow.
Yeah, so as it currently stands, you've got Leeds on 85,
Yep.
Burnley on 85, but behind on goal difference, and Sheffield United on 83. So there's two
Wow.
points separating the top three.
Ding dong go. Three
Yeah,
into two does not go, does it?
no, no.
Yeah, that'll be interesting to see who comes up. We know one team that's going down, Southampton.
We certainly do. They're gone.
Been relegated quicker than anyone ever has been relegated before. 8 games to
Yeah.
go, or 7 games to go, or something like that, and they're gone.
They've got 7 games to get 2 points to match Derby's worst ever Premier League
Yeah,
points in a season.
yeah, yeah. They'll be going for that. Just lost their
Yeah,
manager.
yeah.
Um, and as far as the League Cup, of course, we have to talk a little bit of the League Cup, mate. We made the final, but we're nothing in the final. I just thought we were kind of
Didn't
pathetic,
turn up, did we?
really. Our fans weren't really, it seemed like they were a bit apathetic about the whole thing as well. We got outsung, outplayed on the field, and out celebrated in the end. I just thought Newcastle were a worthy winner of the
Yep.
uh, of the cup, and good on them. And then the narrative starts turning, doesn't it, towards Liverpool and saying, "Oh, what a disappointing season for Liverpool." Just winning the Premier League. I'm
Uh,
like, "Fucking hell,
weakest
mate."
weakest Premier League ever.
Ah, Mate, that is just bullshit. That is a bullshit narrative. What we've got better mid-table teams. I think the teams between 6th and 15th are better than they've ever been.
I
Look at
think
teams like Aston Villa, Brighton.
the Premier
There's
League
just
this year has been the best ever. I
it
think.
has. Any team almost can beat any team, you know?
Yeah. Um,
Um,
I mean, if you look at, obviously we're 11 points clear of Arsenal, and
yeah.
they're 5 points clear of Forest. But
Hmm.
then you look from fourth down to eighth or even ninth. It's a 6 point gap.
Absolutely. Even a team like Wolves, who were relegation contenders a couple of weeks ago, could now even teams like Manchester United and Tottenham are looking over their shoulder at them. So
Yeah.
I just think it's been great. I think it's been a great. I mean, okay, Liverpool went out. We got out to an early lead and we kept winning. I mean, you can't condemn a team for doing
No.
excellent. I mean, that's how Manchester United won the league for years and no one said anything.
It's funny
Uh,
hearing it's funny hearing Arsenal supporters saying boring, boring Liverpool.
Speaking of boring, the Manchester Derby. That was the worst Manchester Derby ever. It was close to the worst derby of football I've ever seen. It was
I've
just a
waste, I,
snooze fest.
I've wasted absolutely no time in watching anything of that game because
Oh,
my mate here in Greytown said,
told you.
"Don't bother."
Yeah, I watched the highlights. There weren't many. Oh, it was a terrible
What
game,
was
mate.
that?
Terrible.
30 seconds long?
Yeah, it was just an absolute shocker. But Liverpool again, losing again. Are we worried? I don't think we're worried. I think we're going to win the Premier League. We've got a few easy games coming up. We should be able to beat West Ham and Leicester, etc. But once again, a poor performance from our side. What can we do to remedy this? I think rotating the squad could be an idea. Um, could be a real idea. I think Bradley at fullback, I thought he looked really good, and then they moved him into the central position near the end there. I think Slot's sort of overthinking some stuff, and I just think you rotate your squad a little bit better. You have Chiesa playing some more minutes. Why isn't Endo getting any game time? Gravenperch looks well. Everyone's saying he's looking gassed, but he hasn't played any football. So why is he
Yeah.
gassed?
I actually
He
thought he had a good game on the weekend.
he was okay, but he's still not a defensive midfielder, man. He's a good box to box midfielder, but we need some defenders. We've got two defenders at the back, two. So when they break, if Van Dijk and Kanate are not having a good game, and the last couple of weeks they haven't played well, we are just open. It's like
Yeah.
we just needed someone shielding them at the back and fullbacks that can defend. That would be lovely. That would be lovely. I'm sure
Well,
Slot's
I think
probably thinking the same
the
thing.
good news there was seeing Connor Bradley get back on the field. So you'd
Absolutely.
think
That
he'll
was good.
probably be starting it right back now for, well, I don't know how bad Trent's injury is.
I think he'll
So
be out for the rest of the season. I
he,
don't particularly think he'll want to come back after some of the things that are being said about him. I don't know. I
yeah,
don't know.
I don't buy into all that sort of stuff. I don't think those type of guys. I mean, he's experienced enough now to just ignore it, and
I don't think those
it's
are the
own.
sort of people that go to the matches. I think they're keyboard
No,
warriors. People are saying that sort of shit. Um, I'm sort of. What are you thinking about the Trent situation then? So we should deal with it now. I've sort of I'm in two minds a little bit. I sort of think yes, he's given 25 years to the club or whatever it is. Good on him, right off into the sunset. But I also think he's done it slightly the wrong way. I think if he really wanted supporters to be on his side, he could have either come out earlier and said, "Yep, I'm off to Real Madrid. I'm really sorry, but this is a chance of a lifetime," and people would have believed him. Or he
mm,
could have signed a contract extension with a buyout clause and said, right, Real Madrid, 50, 60 million so the club gets something for him. The way he's done it, not talking to the press and all that sort of stuff, I completely understand why some people, I don't think death threats and all that sort of shit, that's just crazy. But I can understand why some people are upset about the way he's done it. But to me,
yeah,
he's given a lot
I,
of service to the club, and good on him if he wants to go.
I'm sort of in the camp of good luck to you. Do whatever you want to do. The world's at your feet.
Yep,
Um,
so am
it's
I.
a bit
But
like, I've seen it happen before when Ian Rush went to Juventus back in the 80s and
and came back a year or
um,
two later.
yeah, came back a year later
I think
and
McManaman's the
the
one,
likes of
right?
yeah, Michael Owen went off to Real Madrid because he
We
thought
got a transfer fee for him though,
we did. And as you say,
and
McManaman,
and I think McManaman and Owen though. Also, the club wasn't really looking after them at the time. They
no,
didn't have a team built around them. This time, Trent's got a chance to win stuff with Liverpool. I suppose his argument would be, "I've already done that. I've won
yeah,
everything I can win with Liverpool." So look, I'm much the same as you, mate. He's given a hell of a lot to the club. He's one of the most talented
mm,
guys to ever play. I mean, I just think you want to be that Ballon d'Or guy. Go and try and
yep,
win a Ballon d'Or at Real Madrid with Bellingham and Vinicius and Mbappe in the side. They're going to split the votes. He's never going to win the Ballon d'Or at Real Madrid, mate. He'll never win it
mm.
there. So I just think
I
he's a
think
bit confused in that
yeah, the
logic.
whole situation's been brought about by and dare I say it, Jurgen Klopp's retirement, resignation, call it what you
Mm-hmm.
like. I think in hindsight, um, I mean, he obviously told the board in November of that season that he was going at the end of the season. I actually wished he'd held on till maybe the last week of the season
Mm-hmm.
to say something,
Mm-hmm.
because by then the players wouldn't have known, or I think the whole hold up with Trent and Virgil and Mo has been they didn't want to sign a new contract at the end of last season once they knew Jurgen was going.
Yep.
So they didn't know who the hell was going to be their new manager
Yep.
and, whether they might get on with the guy or not. As it's
That's
turned
right.
out, they both obviously do get on with the manager and everything seems to be rosy. And from what you can read, there's rumours Mo's about to sign a new contract, same as Virgil, but we don't know. Trent's probably going. All well and good. I think, yeah, we've had our pound of flesh out of him. It's time for him to move on to new pastures. But if he stays, great.
I think the contract should have been signed well before last year. I think they should have got them onto 3, 4 more years, a couple of years before then.
Mhm.
And I think Klopp's not directly to blame, but the people behind the
I'm not
scenes,
saying
the
Klopp's to
people.
blame. I'm
No,
just saying
no,
it's
but
it's circumstances.
I completely, yeah,
And we
it has
also
had.
had
It is kind
we
of
were
unique,
going.
isn't it? Three
Oh, it is,
players
and we
like
were going
this.
through that period where we had a temporary football director. Remember that guy,
Mm.
the German guy
Yeah,
Schmadtke or whatever his name
yeah,
was?
Schmedka, yeah, George
And
Schmedka, yeah,
so there was a bit of uncertainty and nobody really knew. And that, a year and a half, 2 years out, that's normally when you get players to sign new long-term contracts when they've
yeah.
still got a couple of years or a year and a half left. But
No,
because
absolutely.
of, I think because of that uncertainty, it's just really bad circumstances. And as I say, in hindsight, if Jurgen had held off announcing his departure, maybe they would have agreed new contracts well before now.
Yeah, the other rumors I've heard is that Trent's agent is obviously his brother, and
Yeah.
he's the only guy that represents him. And they've kept on going back to the club, and they're demanding more and more and more. Every time I want to be the captain, I want this, I want that, I want that, and the club just went, nah, stuff you. We've gone far enough. We're not going to go any further. Off you go. And the other thing is that I'm a little bit, it's off to Real Madrid again, man. They just get everyone, and it just, as a football fan, you just get a bit pissed off, don't you? You just go, screw them, Screw, they just get all the good players, they just get everything, everyone they want, and they just start angling with players who's, great players whose contracts are expiring at other clubs, and they just start sending little messages in the press, don't they? And start, just the way they tap the players up. It's just sort of, I don't know. It leaves a bad taste in your mouth as a
Oh,
supporter of
absolutely.
another team. Even though Liverpool are a big team and we do the same sort of thing, it is the food chain, isn't it? But Real Madrid, they just do it time and time and time again, don't they? So
And
yeah, kind of
Barcelona do
annoying.
it too, but they're a bit more subtle about it.
They are, but Barcelona just don't have the cash anymore
Not
either
at the
because
moment, no.
they've got too many levers extended, haven't they?
Yeah, so 11 points clear, seven
Yep.
games to go. It's in the bag, isn't it?
Has to be, mate. Has to be. If it's not, it will be the meltdown of most epic proportions, and I think we'll quit podcasting. We'll just go, fuck this sport, man. I mean, there's just no way that we can't do it. I mean, the teams we've got coming up, we should win. But
Yeah.
Christ, if we lose a couple more, and Arsenal keep winning, or they see that was the thing. Arsenal, thank God, they only drew, so
Mm,
it was a little bit easier to take, wasn't it? If they had
yeah,
won and we'd have lost, we'd be sitting here today. Our chairs would be a
but
little bit
nervous.
squeakier, wouldn't they? Yeah, exactly. So yeah, yeah, we'll get it done. We'll get it done, and we'll podcast when we do, and we'll celebrate properly.
Um, we also haven't done a podcast since the All Whites qualified for the
No,
World Cup.
no, and
What
that was a bit
a
squeaky bum there
great
for an
couple of
hour.
games!
Yeah,
Yes,
they
I was
were.
I was lucky enough to get to both games, the semi-final down here in Wellington, and also the final up in Auckland. So
Yep.
two magnificent events, and you're talking about squeaky bum time. Half time in that final against New Caledonia was very much squeaky bum time, and then 20 minutes into the second half, or 10 minutes into the second half,
Chris Wood goes off.
our talisman goes off.
I was thinking, there's no way we can fuck this up. Surely,
Well,
surely.
yeah, I was sitting there thinking, oh no, it's going to be one of those games
Yeah,
where we lose our main scorer. We have
yeah.
63 shots to their
Shot
one,
one. Yeah,
and
or
they're
none, or none. A
yeah,
deflection.
yeah,
That's the thing
and
with football, eh? Football is that sport where you
yeah,
can get those results. It does make you nervous, but then thankfully we banged a couple in, didn't we? We got the job
yeah,
done, and off we go over to the USA. Woo. I
yeah,
mean, I was feeling a lot more excited about that a year or two ago, but never mind.
yeah,
It'll be a great World Cup. Anyway, provided we
yeah.
don't end
So
up at the detention center.
yeah. You think Canada and Mexico really will get to
Oh
host games?
God. What are the tariffs? Give us the tariffs now. Sorry, the USA start with a 2-goal lead in every game.
Crazy.
Oh, you
Anyway,
gotta
let's get away
laugh.
from that.
Yep, yeah, but well,
Yes,
go
so
the All Whites. Go the All Whites.
we're
So the All Whites have
qualified
qualified.
third time ever we've qualified for the World Cup. So
Fantastic. Unbeaten in the last World Cup.
yes, yes,
No,
quite
we're
right indeed.
unbeaten. Unbeaten. Yeah. So we've got much to prove at this World Cup. And I think we should go well, actually. Looking at that team, I think we played well in that first game, didn't we? Second game, it was just nerves, I think, that really got them. They sort of stopped playing a little bit of that pass and move game. And it just sort of, I think when he got them in at halftime, they sort of got their composure a little bit more,
Yeah.
started playing a bit more. Spaces started opening up, especially around the back. There was a great ball played for Costa, wasn't there, down the line? And that they should
Oh,
have been
it's
doing that all game,
sensational.
really. Yeah,
And
yeah. So
plus the New Caledonians were playing that tried and true 8-1-1 formation.
yeah, Mourinho would be proud, wouldn't he?
He
Hey?
would have been. He would have been. Moving away from football, Super Rugby has been touted as being the most exciting Super Rugby in a long time, and I'd have to say it actually is quite good to see some Australian teams finally starting to perform.
And Moana Pacifica, mate. Moana
Yeah,
Pacifica
Moana
have to
Pacifica beating the
they
Mighty
have to be the
Crusaders a couple of
story.
weeks
They
ago.
exactly. They've beaten just about everyone. And Artie Savia, some of the performances from him. My God, what a rugby player that man is. He has to be the best rugby player I've seen in a long, long while. Um,
Yes.
yeah. So no, it has been a good competition. What I'm really a little bit worried about is the New Zealand rugby again. Just last weekend, they've scheduled like 7 games on a Saturday and nothing on a Sunday.
Mm.
I just think, you know, you take your cues from sports that are winning. Like the Warriors and the NRL are doing really well at the moment. Why don't you just look at them and say, oh, they do 3 games there, 2 games there, and they spread them around and everyone seems to enjoy it. Why don't you
Yeah.
just take your cue from that? There's certain things that they could do. They could have a magic round. You don't have to call it that. Just rename it. Every other sport bastardizes other sports and looks for
Yeah.
other sports. I just think the New Zealand Rugby Union, or whatever they're called these days, are just a little bit too concerned. They just still think that they're the big cheese, and they don't have to look elsewhere for any sort of inspiration because everyone should come to us. And when I saw the Blues play the Hurricanes at Eden Park the other day, which was a good game of rugby, it was a bit Northern Hemisphere like because of the weather,
Mm.
but it was a good game of rugby. There was no one there. There was no one
Yeah.
there. There was no people just really aren't interested. And I know people say, "Oh, it's the Aucklanders; they're not interested." And well, schedule it. I just think try and get
Yep.
some buy-in from your public, and do things to try and promote the game.
Oh, exactly. And it
Oh,
was interesting. I ran into a couple of old mates, obviously, at Eden Park.
yeah,
Some of my old Mount Albert Ponsonby mates. And one of them said something very interesting to me, which is actually quite right. The Blues are now the worst supported professional sports team in Auckland.
in Auckland. Yep, Auckland FC get 20,000 plus every. Warriors sell it every game.
Yep,
I mean, yeah, they are. They'd be number. Oh, Breakers
number
sell out
three.
most games, even though they
Yeah.
lose. Absolutely, they would be. They'd be number three,
Yep.
and a
And
long
the
way.
other thing I sort of say to people who say, "Oh no, rugby's still number one," is that you get when Liverpool play Manchester City in England, you
Yep.
can't you can't get a seat. You
No.
can't get a seat for anything because
No.
it's sold out.
Yep.
Crusaders versus Blues at Eden Park a couple of weeks ago.
Yep.
10 years ago,
Oh,
used to be able to get a
no.
ticket.
Absolutely.
10,
30,000
15 years
plus.
ago.
Yep. Yep.
Yep. Now you're lucky if you're getting 12,000 to
Yep.
those games. It's
Now, are
just
they worried? Are they worried though?
no, they're not
They
because
don't.
they're getting, because they're charging exorbitant prices
And they're getting their money from TV revenue, which
and they're
is
getting their
rumored
money
that
from
that's going to
TV
drop.
revenue.
That's going to
Yeah.
drop. I mean,
It's yeah, there's
I
the
sleep at the
trouble
wheel,
is
man.
rugby needs to change, but the people in
Yep.
charge don't want to change anything. We saw that by that unbelievable vote last year to
Oh, yeah,
basically retain
exactly.
the status quo with the unions
Absolutely.
holding
Just
court.
gutless, mate. Yeah,
Mm,
really. Hard calls need to be made,
yep.
and it's there for everyone to see,
Yeah.
and they just got their head buried in the sand.
And just going back to
They've
that,
actually got quite, like we said, going back to the rugby, they've actually got quite a good product there now. They've made
yeah,
some good changes with the rules.
yep.
The way it's being refereed is good. I think the players have got buy-in, but it's just not being promoted enough.
Mm,
And we've almost got a table we can read.
yeah. And
We
the other
could,
thing, some people will say that that's not a very good comparison comparing Liverpool Man City to Crusaders Blues, but it is because Crusaders Blues, of the 30 players on the field, 20 of them are some of the best rugby players you'll ever see.
yeah, exactly.
So that you can't say it's not very good. The quality's not very good.
What
You've
you
got the
could
best
what you
players in the
could
world out
say
there playing.
what you could say is that the English Premier League is at its zenith, and when we supported Super Rugby at its beginning, it was perhaps at its zenith then. It grew for a little bit, but it's decaying, as a competition. They need to either rip it all down and start again, which they probably don't need to do.
How many times have
Or
they done that though?
exactly, oh yeah,
Just about
exactly.
every second year. That's
Yeah,
the
I know.
problem.
Yeah.
People go back to, people have been Liverpool supporters for 60, 70 years and they still go
Yep.
back every single week.
Yep.
You buy a season ticket to the Blues and, oh, I might go to three games, you
Yeah.
know, if I'm lucky.
Yeah, exactly.
And it's
Yeah,
just, I,
I feel like we're just echo chambers. We just keep talking
yeah,
about the same thing, but
I
it's
mean,
like, what are they?
let's use American sports for example.
Yep.
You know, the Seattle Mariners have 81 home games a season.
Hmm.
If they get anything below about 35,000 to a game on a Tuesday or a Monday, they're like, what's wrong?
What's going on?
Where's
Yeah.
where are the people?
And they're a losing franchise.
Yeah,
They're not, people aren't really going, I mean, that's the thing.
yeah,
But that's because they've got people that love the team, They've got passionate supporters. And while I would say, look, there is a good core group of passionate Blues supporters that will go there all the time. And there are a significant bunch of bandwagon jumpers in Auckland. Don't get me wrong. They love going when your team's winning. I just think that they could do more to foster, I don't know, just getting more people there, just promote it better, promote the game better, look at other game day experiences on other sports. What are they doing? Put games on back to back. Make it. I don't know. There's just more you could do, mate. We're
Well,
on a fucking 30-minute
well,
podcast coming up with
look at
ideas here.
look
You
at what
know?
Auckland FC have done. The Kings and the Knights were
Yeah.
lucky if they got 2,500 along to their games
Absolutely.
up in
Absolutely.
North Harbour Stadium. Okay,
Yep.
maybe it was a long way to go for people, but there's lots of football fans on the North Shore.
Yep.
Yet they couldn't pay people to go to those games.
No.
Admittedly, they weren't doing very well.
No.
But the first game of the Auckland FC season, 26,000 people at Mount Smart Stadium.
And not just 26,000 people, 26,000 people making a hell of a lot of noise, mate. And
Exactly.
taking their cues. I know that they built a very strong online presence to do that,
Mm,
which probably the other teams didn't have that. Well, they didn't, would they? Because social media and that sort of thing wasn't around then. But they were very clever. They were just clever about it. They just
yep.
see how other sports do it. Let's take that. Let's do this. Let's take this bit. You don't have to be a sports scientist. You don't have to. It's not rocket appliances.
Yeah. And I know we're
It's
having a go. I know we're having a go at the Blues, but they're the biggest
they
population
are.
base of all the five franchises. I mean, there's lots of empty yellow seats at Sky Stadium
Yep.
when the Hurricanes play,
Yep.
and it's going to be interesting to see what happens next year in this new stadium in Christchurch,
Yep.
to see whether they're going to pack the pack the
Well,
seats. You know,
yeah. Well, that's the thing, mate. I was talking to a couple of friends the other day. We're out to dinner or something, and I was talking to a couple of friends who used to watch rugby like I do, and we were all of the same opinion. Do you watch? Oh, what's going on? When is it? Well, I don't know. I don't really watch Super Rugby. I watch the All Blacks. I watch the All Blacks. That's basically what we've been
yeah,
reduced to. Whereas on a Friday night, mate, it's Chiefs Highlanders tonight. We used to be lock it in.
yeah,
Oh, should we go to the TAB and put some bets on? It was like
yeah,
engagement, and it's just not there, mate.
mm,
And that's people like us should be the ones that are engaged. They should be looking to get the youth, the
yep,
kids there. And that is something like you said, Auckland FC. What a game day experience. And the way they put sand pits and shit by, they don't give a shit if kids are sliding down the bank they don't give it, they encourage it.
mm,
That's just back in the day, I'd get the kids to sit down and watch the game. That's what they're here for. It's like, come on. I
yeah.
mean,
Oh
just
no,
yeah.
preaching to
Anyway.
the converted, son. Preaching to the converted. Anyway,
Yeah,
the
mate.
Warriors have had a week off.
Yeah, mate.
Prior to that, 3 wins in a row.
Top four, mate. Top four. I've got a new favourite player, Licker the Wrecker. What a
Lekker the
player!
record.
I love him. Licker Halasima, 19 years old, looking like Jonah Lomu storming down the sideline. That try against the Tigers. My God, I made some noise, mate. That was bloody awesome. Yeah, mate, we're top four. That's freaking awesome. But the problem is, we got the Storm this weekend, and we haven't beaten them in like 17 matches. Did you see? Did you see Joey Johns the other
Yeah,
day?
the Warriors are the Storm's bogey team.
Oh, that's why he's paid the big bucks.
Yeah,
Haven't beaten them in nearly a decade. But look, mate, I actually did see the last time we beat them was the time that Nathan Friend did the big backflip. Can you remember that when he was upside down?
oh, yeah.
He did the whole. There was a shot of him in the Herald. He was upside down. That was the last time we beat the Storm. All I got to say is the NRL's rigged, mate. That's just absolute bullshit. The referees are absolute scum. The bloody NRL, they just always take us to the cleaners when we play the Storm. Sure, they've absolutely smashed us a few times, but there's been a couple of 1 point losses that I'm absolutely dirty on as well. We owe them, man. They are due a loss, and it's going to happen on Sunday. Up the Wasp!
I hope you're right. I hope you're right.
And also the weekend after, the Broncos come to town. So that's a couple of big games. If we can beat the Storm going into the Broncos, full house at Ericsson, I'm going to be there. Oh, sorry. What are we calling it now? Compassionate Grounds Home Stadium. That's what I'm calling it. After we let Dylan Walker and every other bloody Aussie that cries, oh, I miss my kids, go back home. Well, you signed the contract. You signed the contract, son. You're staying.
Exactly.
Anyway, two big games coming out for the Warriors. Can't wait, mate.
Excellent, excellent. So, one thing that has surprised me quite a bit is
Yeah.
Bulldogs sitting top of the table.
Oh, mate, has it? I knew that they were going to be close to it. They've got done some fantastic recruitment. Crichton in the centres from
Didn't they
Penrith.
finish bottom a couple of years ago?
Yeah, they did, man. But they've got Phil Gill. He's built a really strong roster there. They've signed up a number of Penrith players, and they've got a hell of a forward pack, mate. They are looking really good. Although I still don't think they've really played a hell of a lot of top sides. We'll see, mate. It's the first time they've been top of the table like that since the early 90s, I think, mate. About the time you and I met for the first time. So that's a long time ago.
Yep. And when did they won the premiership, didn't they? In
Yeah, Steve Price.
2000.
Let me tell with Jonathan Thurston, gave the medal to Steve Price because he was injured
Yeah.
before Steve Price came to the Warriors. Was that
Yes.
2006? I don't know. It was sometime around then.
Mm.
Um, yeah, that was the last time though. It was a long time ago for the doggies.
About 20 years ago. Yeah.
Yeah, the other thing is Benji Marshall's Tigers, mate. They're looking good too.
Mm.
Looking a lot better this year. Jerome Lua has made a lot of a difference. He's guiding them around, and the other thing
Yeah.
is
I'll let you into a little secret with regards to the West Tigers.
yeah.
They couldn't do any worse.
That's true. That's true. Well, they could be like Parramatta this year. They were absolute dogs, but they won their first game of the in the weekend too. The other big thing is all the players wanting to play international rugby league now for Tonga and Samoa and everything like that. And poor old Australia going, what are we going to do about Origin though, mate? He's qualified. He's born in Cairns and he's qualified for so we can't let him play Origin anymore. What are we going to do? And I'm just like, screw you, Australia. Who cares about
Exactly.
Origin? Only you, you know? It's
Yeah.
international. Let them play for their. But you look at some of those sides, they are going to be stacked. The Tongans and the Samoans in the next World Cup, I tell you.
Yeah. Um, Now, moving away from rugby league, we heard yesterday that New Zealand cricket coach Gary Stead is moving away from white ball. I'm also hoping he moves away from red ball too.
Just move away from cricket balls.
Yeah, move away from coaching, son.
Oh my God. Can you believe that he bought Henry Nichols back? I mean, look, I've got no problem with the results the guy's got, but it's also coincided with the best talent pool we've ever had. And some of his, it's just the selections for me. I just
Yeah,
can't understand the way certain players are picked ahead of other players. And it's like there is definitely a Canterbury bias. It seems like anytime there's an option, it's straight to the Canterbury phone or something. It's yeah, got nothing against him as personally or as the results he's done have been fine, but I just think it's time for fresh blood, surely. I mean,
yeah.
him and Hessen have had the reign. Him and Hessen had the reins for how long? Must be. I know there is
Oh,
such a thing
crikey.
as stability and selection. I like that, and I'm sure that's part of the reason we've done so well. But surely there must be our players must be craving another voice. You know what I mean? Someone to
Yeah,
say something different. They must have heard it again and again and again.
and I know the media have been pushing. Oh, but Gary Stead was the coach when we won the World Test Championship. Yeah, that was Mike Hesson's team.
Yeah, it was. And look at the talent we had, mate. We had Ross
Yeah,
Taylor and bloody,
yeah,
and Kane and our bowlers at their best. That team, it was the team that won that, not the coaching. Let's be honest.
yeah,
That team, it was that was a. But look, I'm not taking it away from him. He did build up the team well. I mean, through that lead up to the Test Championship, I think he did. That was perhaps his best, definitely his best achievement for me. Well, it had to be.
yeah,
But also what he got right in that thing was selection. I thought that was one of the times where there wasn't a lot of argument about things. But Henry Nichols back and as a one-day batsman, I'm like,
yeah.
what is he thinking? I just say there's so
Oh,
many other options, young
I
guys.
know.
Like, weird,
Yeah.
weird. Not
It,
steady at all.
cricket's going through funny times, isn't it, at the moment with all these, it's not, I know,
We need a big bash team. That'll sort it out.
aging us, but it's not like it
And
used to be
it
where,
is.
every international game, it was the best 11. There was
Yeah.
none of this rotation and where's our summer of cricket? We
Yeah.
didn't really have one. We had
No.
a spring of cricket because our test matches were in November, in early December,
They're
and that
just
was
going,
it
wait
for.
2 years. Wait 2 years. You'll get it then. You'll get the four tests against Australia. They give us that. They just hang on, hang on. You'll get it shortly.
But
It's
that's in
like,
Australia.
oh yeah. Well, I don't think we've got any control over scheduling. This is the thing with cricket. I mean, international cricket
Mm.
is run by the Indians, isn't it? It's
Yeah, but
run,
Australia seems to be able to keep a decent schedule every summer.
yeah, because they're Australia, England, and India. The three of them,
Yeah.
Ed.
Oh,
Okay,
yeah.
they
There
get
is
what
that,
they
but
they get what they want, and the rest of us are throwing scraps. That's and if they have it their way, it's going to get more like that before we get less of like that. It was just going to
yeah,
be them play those three teams playing each other more, and then they'll all go, "Oh, this is getting a bit boring," and the rest of us would have fucked off and played other sports like baseball. Uh, it's ridiculous. They should,
quite right.
it's celebrate the global game rather than try and kill it. And
Yeah,
franchise cricket. Look, you've said it a million times on this podcast. Can we just keep T20 to franchises? I could
yeah.
actually support a franchise if we did it that way. As it is, I have no idea any sort of franchise cricket. It's just all over the bloody place. It's higgledy-piggledy. Cricket is eating itself in T20. We shouldn't have
Mm.
any international T20. It's ridiculous.
No.
Just have players playing franchise
Well,
stuff.
because they have a T20 World Cup every second year now.
Why?
Just
Who won the
bizarre.
last one? Who won the last
Oh,
one? I can't remember. That's what
no idea.
T20 is. I can't remember.
No
But
idea.
yeah,
I
where is the
know
Test cricket? Where is the
Black
Test cricket?
Blackfern's last won the last women's T20. I know that.
Yoo-hoo! Yeah, that's right. They did.
Anyway, enough of that. On to another bat and ball sport. My favourite, baseball.
Quick.
Season's underway. Woo. We're nearly 2 weeks into the season, and
It's a
there's
thousand games into the season.
still 6.5 months to go. Great. The big news coming out of America, well, Canada actually, because the Toronto Blue Jays have signed Vladimir Guerrero Jr. to a 14-year, $500 million deal. That
Plus
news just coming
25%
out a couple
tariff.
of days ago. Yeah, yeah. Plus tariffs on top of that every time he goes into America. And the other big news is the Chicago White Sox have actually won 2 games.
Wow, which is better than
Unbelievable,
they did last year.
pretty much. Um, and Tampa Bay is playing their home games in the New York Yankees spring training venue
Wow, that's interesting. Why?
because
What's going on?
Tropicana Field got destroyed in that big
Oh, the
cyclone a
hurricane.
couple of months ago.
Yeah. Oh, okay.
So they're deciding whether to rebuild that or build a brand new stadium. Everybody in the baseball world is hoping that they build a new stadium because nobody likes going to Tropicana Field.
Fair enough, too.
And the Athletics, I'm not going to say what city they're from because nobody knows, but they're playing their home games in Sacramento
Oh,
until their
Sacramento
new
Athletics.
stadium in Las Vegas is built. So
Wow.
another Oakland franchise moving to Las Vegas. So that's planned for, I think they've turned soil on the new stadium in Vegas. So that's a couple of years away. And they've actually started the season not too bad.
Hey, just quickly
Uh,
before we go,
yep,
what about these Yankees bats I've been hearing about?
the torpedo bat.
The torpedo bats. What's going on? Quickly.
Basically, they've moved the meat of the bat from the end to the middle,
Oh,
so to the barrel. So, and they're legal, totally legal. It's not just the Yankees that are using them; other teams' players are using them.
weird.
It's yeah, essentially it's a bit like the David Warner cricket bats.
Yeah,
You
when
know,
they balanced the cricket bat
they
differently and made a shorter blade, but yeah,
yeah,
what were they called? I can't remember. Mongoose bat or
boomstick
something.
or something like that. Yeah, the
Yeah, yeah,
mongoose
yeah,
bat.
yeah, yeah.
And again, a lot like what Lance Cairns did with his bats with the
Excalibur.
shoulders, taking Excalibur, taking
Yeah.
the shoulders off, basically
Awesome.
putting the bulk of the wood where they hit the ball,
Wow.
which is sort of in the meat of the
And
bat.
it's
So,
made a difference.
well, supposedly, yeah. The Yankees have hit more home runs than other teams have actually